some reading from some of the lectures that I've given or in some of the papers that I've written. This one is for the International Indigenous Astronomy Conference. A paper. The conference was held at the Northwest University. The theme that I chose for my abstract was Facing the Reality, Value and Relevance of Indigenous Astronomy in the 21st Century. Abstract. Africology is the integral reality in all endeavors relating to the well-being of continental as well as global Africans. It has to be made a compulsory subject throughout the African continent. As a field of scholarship that amalgamates the interconnected disciplines that make African and Black studies so pivotal to world building and the people's collective well-being. African ancestors are the key connecting the past, present and future of their children. Observance of natural phenomena, from the terrestrial to the celestial bodies, has been a key feature throughout all African civilizations, from Inzalo Yelanga, Adam's calendar, the Chokwe and the Kuba kingdoms, memory boards that recorded eclipses and key events, to the cliff of Bandiagara, Mande, to the Luba and the Tabwa cultures in the Congo, all the way towards the Nile Valley civilizations. Africans have maintained an intimate relationship with the stars. Instructions pertaining to the intricate relations within the cosmos suffered a near fatal blow with the advent of colonialism. Foreign religions and our love affair with the land and nature suffered a fatal blow. What African communities would learn through initiation, communal rites and ritual unions and secret societies has gradually disappeared. Restoration of these rites of passage and imikosi festivals is part of the vision of many institutions that now exist. What is missing is a connecting factor that also deals with strategies for resisting Western intrusion and dilution of the essence of the African way. The Africological framework presents the greatest and most organized approach to preserving IKS, Indigenous Knowledge Systems. Instruction of youth is key to the sustainability of this mode of astro-cosmological model. Cooperative economic approaches are also required to ensure that IKS harmonizes with technology and emerging sciences. So this was the abstract. Now this is my introduction. I start with Fanon. The white man desires the world and wants it for himself alone. He considers himself predestined to rule the world. He has made it useful to himself, but here are values which do not submit to his rule. Frantz Fanon. And the next quote is by K.A. Busia. I quote, "To the Ashanti, the universe is full of spirits. There is the great spirit, the supreme being, who created all things, and who manifests his power through a pantheon of gods. Below these are lesser spirits which animate the trees, animals, or charms. And then there are the ever-present spirits of the ancestors, Nsamanfo, whose constant contact with the life of man on the earth brings the world of the spirit so close to the land of the living." End quote. And so I begin. Law, natural law, is at the center of humanity's fascination with the stars. All cultures have a star system. We name them according to our languages, and some constellations and even single heavenly bodies even carry divine status, or they are said to be the bodies or the abodes of the gods. The present civilization is so used to the Greco-Roman names of constellations, planets and stars that one would assume that these phenomena were either not observed or they simply did not exist in the imagination of the indigenous peoples elsewhere. Some earlier scholars began to recognize that there is much more to African people than what they had regarded as superstition and unsophisticated and unphilosophical ritualism. Note what anthropologists M. Greol and G. Ditterlen and say in one of their books in 1951 concerning the Dogon cosmology. The starting point of creation is the star which revolves around Sirius and is actually named the Digitara star. It is regarded by the Dogon as the smallest and the heaviest of all the stars. It contains the germs of all things. Its movements on its own axis and around Sirius upholds all creation in space. We shall see that its orbit determines the calendar. End quote. And so I go on. The work of Greol and Ditterlen on the Congo, on the Dogon people and their cosmology, has been quoted many times, but we would like to focus on their emphasis on the way myth, stories, and ritual union is used by these and many other African societies. This emphasis on creation myths also highlights what Sheikh Anta Diop termed the cultural unity of Black Africa. Please note that Diop by no means meant that African people are homogeneous or that they constitute a monolithic culture that is not dynamic or connected to others. The cultural unity of Black Africa denotes that the existence of many shared intercultural traits that confirm that indeed the varied people of Africa represent a diverse family that has been fragmented through migrations and the passage of time. What is the fundamental difference between the astronomy of the Western world and that of the Southern Hemisphere? Another way to pose this question is through a more sociological lens, by taking a panoramic view of the way ordinary people in South Africa, for example, interact with the stars. We can then ask, what is our most common relationship with the cosmos, space, and the technology that is used to engage with it? While the sun appears to be the most obvious place to begin, since it is so imposingly powerful and there have been several religions established for its veneration, one would be forgiven to assume that the sun is the most significant heavenly body. While the two spheres may appear to dominate the skies, the most pervasive phenomenon in African cosmology is the pairing, grouping, and harmonious relationship between all celestial and terrestrial beings or bodies. According to many historians, it is actually the moon that has long been established as the foremost ruler in the African skies, confirming its place as the primordial timekeeper and the measurer of months, as well as specific and contextual festivals. This is what Zulu historian Sithi Msimang had to say in his seminal book on Zulu customs, Kusadliwa Ngoludala, written or published in 1975, under the title Imikhutsana eyabe iqikelelwa, on the subject of Inyanga, the moon, a word that also means healer or herbalist. I quote, Imvama yemikhosi yabe yenziwa ebusuku sekuphethiwe imisebenzi yonke yosuku. Kwakungumgomo ukuba kukhethwe isikhathi lapho inyanga igcwele, kwenziwe ngayo umsebenzi. Ukugcwala kwenyanga kwabe kusho ukugcwala nokuphelela kwendalo kanye nempilo. Uma inyanga ifile, kwakuthiwa indalo izilile. Ngakho nabantu babeyizila imisebenzi ebalulekile njengamasiko okukhulisa abantwana. Ngokunjalo izintombi zazingaqhethi namasoka, kanti nabanumzane babengaleqi iziko ngaleso sikhathi. Kuthiwe bazobe bezilandela ubumnyama. Isizathu sesibili sokukhetha isikhathi sokugcwala kwenyanga asibalulekile kangako, kodwa esokuthi kwakuthandeka ukwenza izinto ngonyezi. kukhanya ukuze kungaveli izingozi nokuhlambalaza. End quote.